Morning. Morning, Ralph. Morning, Steve. How you doing? Oh gosh, too much Taya this week, but I got to do it because every time I've noticed actually that the longer that goes between streams, the more waffly I get, and the less structured they get, and I just I lose momentum and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to keep doing it, whether people watch or not doesn't matter. There's no expectation that people will watch like this kind of stuff. But anyway, I'm going to just quickly talk about this one because I think that a lot of people kind of heading too far into label town. And just a little bit, it's not going to be as ranty as yesterday because, I can only do so much. It's just, I can't get that animated that much. And also I haven't read LinkedIn today, so I'm in a good mood. LinkedIn makes me crack and grumpy. Haven't done that yet. But I thought that a little bit, kind of really, if you're a fully formed human being, I don't know whether these labels are helpful. I think a lot of these labels actually are for non-formed human beings, because I think that fully formed human beings with strong minds, strong sense of self, strong sense of self-efficacy, boundaries, people who know who they are, know what's true, have a strong character, don't need these labels. I mean, labels are useful for, communicating to the outside world what you may or may not, be or believe, or a whole, is sort of shorthand. But at the same time, you know what? On any given day, I can be accused of being fucking all sorts of things, and it's like, well, depending on who I'm talking to. Who am I talking to? Well, if you ask any fucking, academics, I'm an idiot. Okay? Well, yeah, whatever. Okay. Cool, you're real smart. You're real smart. You can do one thing. You can write an 80,000 word essay on one thing. Sorry, block. If the bots become a big problem, then obviously I will block. I will just hide the whole fucking thing because it's just so stupid, these fucking things. I don't know why they bother. I don't know what, I mean, technically I do know because they're just testing to see if it can go through. However, at least, I don't know, make it fucking interesting. At least put a dick up on the screen or some sort of ashy code fucking something or other. I don't know what the point of that is. Anyway. So, no, but these sort of labels are, I'm going to turn the chat off actually. These if I see them, I'll, whatever. Let's turn that off. So labels are good shorthand for people who, might not understand, obviously with this whole turf thing, you go, people, you go, I'm called a turf. What's a turf? Oh, well, don't get me started. There's this thing. It's an entry point. Okay? But if turf is your whole fucking identity, you're not a fully formed person. If you can't see the complexities of these things, then you're not a fucking fully formed person. Okay? And I'm not saying women aren't fucking human. Go fuck yourself. If you identify as, even I would say that, for all intent, when I say I'm a Marxist, I mean that I, largely come from a Marxist perspective. Doesn't mean I've joined a fucking cult that can't see the other points of view. Adam Smith had a point. John Maynard Keynes had a point. Milton Keynes had a point. If they didn't have a fucking point, we wouldn't learn it. Okay? Or if they weren't useful, but that's a whole other side. But they got a point. Okay? The reason why these theories are effective is because they've made a point. That is true for some parts of the population. Okay? I would argue that the Milton Keynes perspective on economics is somewhat based on having a dick and having power and having money and being white and all those things. Fair cop. I would say that Adam Smith may be fucking a little bit idealistic about things, but even Adam Smith was about, he acknowledged that psychopaths exist. I mean, Americans basically go, no, psychopaths are the good guys. I think you're mistaken, and everybody who questions a psychopath has a personality disorder. That's the American way. Everyone who's not a psychopath is the real fucking problem. Everyone who's not killing people, picking on people, bullying people, waving their dick at people, they're the ones that they're the terrorists and the fucking ones who need medicine and the ones that are obsessed. If you watched yesterday, you'll know what that was. But saying, like, this is the problem with these fucking labels, is that depending on who I'm talking to, you know what, if I talk to, anyone in my family, I'm an up or some, in the course of a day yesterday, I was called a fucking ivory tower intellectual who needs to get out in the real world and only knows the world from books. That's a favourite one from my family. Oh, well, it's not in a book, Taya, you would know. You know what? I live in this fucking world and I live in it with you being a fuckwit. I'm pretty sure I know how the world works too because I grew up with you, okay? I grew up, I love this idea with these people who think that you only learn things from a book and somehow now, because you've actually read things and know things, that somehow you are now detached from having to pay bills, having to buy a house, having to fucking, deal with men and mansplaining. If anything, book reading makes mansplaining worse because the more they assume you don't know, the more you got to fucking prove that you know. The harder you have to work. At least when you don't read, men's expectations are met of you, okay? I love this idea that somehow you are detached from the real world. Now, the problem is that academics are also fucking assholes and think that any real world experience is not intelligence. And that's another fucking thing that is a big problem with me, which is that because I also ran businesses and I also, lived in the real world, apparently, okay, according to nobody that isn't an academic, I had a business and was smart and am intelligent. I am also a fucking idiot because I don't have a PhD or I don't necessarily consider that they're hierarchical, specializing out of thinking, pretending that it's thinking, grift, putting all the fucking bureaucrats and midwits in charge and them calling themselves smart. So what they do is they go, you know what, we're going to redefine what smart is. We're going to put all the dummies in the universities. We're going to make it controlled by bureaucrats and box tickers, and then we're going to make a process that's only designed for middle management thinkers. And then what we'll do is we'll make it so that all those people get all of the courses, and then what we'll do is we'll say that they've all got PhDs, so therefore they're the smart people. Hang on, it seems like we've got this is the benefit of looking at things structurally and in terms of history, is that you understand what happened here, which is that for private payment universities that were not based on merit, they were based on how much money you could pay, and opening that up meant that the fucking same people that are on LinkedIn trying to sell stick-on nails and MLM also fucking signed up to GAICD fucking courses and all these private project management certifications that don't exist. Somewhere along the line, education got lost too. So now people who work in universities are now training the next, much like anywhere else, are training the next generation of non-thinkers who think they're thinkers. They're just being taught how to, it's astonishing. I actually said this the other day. I doubt that, someone like Marx, Keynes, like Marx, if you're interesting, like when you think about his life, he actually was not accepted by the academy either, right? He studied law and he was, all of that sort of stuff. And he studied actually law and economics, I believe, and philosophy. It was actually better then because you could actually fucking not have to pick one narrow thing. They're all the same fucking thing, idiot. Sorry. Except now, you know what's different? No one knows anything about the other thing. So the problem is that you'll go from, sociology over to law, or law over to psychology, and they have no fucking idea what you're talking about, because they've created this whole new milieu and set of jargon and everything else, and then they actually act like, because you don't know their specific words and their specific discipline and their specific process of inquiry, that you're somehow a fucking idiot, because the academy is controlled and now run by middle management brains, okay? People who actually think will not survive university anymore. Anyway, that was my point. That Marx actually made me feel better reading that about Marx. I'm not comparing myself to Marx. I'm just saying, when you understand that the people who are different thinkers and ratbags in history, or, rebellious in any way, generally were not accepted by institutional power, it makes you feel a little bit better. Yes, it's a crapshoot. Yes, the odds are about 95% you won't be remembered at all, okay, especially if you're a woman. But at the same time, you should have some comfort, and this is what it comes back to, with sense of self and knowing who you are, and knowing when you have done all you can do to, keep. Again, I'm not saying it in a sort of narcissistic, oh, I am perfect and be above question. I'm saying as long as you are self-aware, but you have self-esteem, boundaries, a strong sense of self, self-efficacy, know what you're doing, know what you've done. You don't need to take on these things as identities. And the more that I'm seeing this stuff online, the more that I'm seeing is that these labels are used more as just weapons, and also as ways of people being lazy in their thinking, lazy in their communication. And, and this is, basically, 3 years ago, I wrote a blog post about elevator pitches, okay? Why I don't do elevator pitches, okay? That's what got me kicked out of a business networking group. Right? Because I was supposed to do a 2.5-minute speech on my business and what we do. And I turned around and I wrote a speech about why I won't, because they did these fucking, I don't know if anyone who's in business knows these fucking things, these stupid events where they go, oh, and then everyone acts like, hang on, sorry, one sec. Everyone acts like someone will talk at these events, and I'm sitting there fucking laughing my ass off. Like, whatever. I'm there. I'll hand out some cards, but you're not my people. Just like on LinkedIn, these people on LinkedIn don't understand that they're not my audience. Me offending them and them engaging with me and arguing me I don't give a fuck about them. I'm giving a fuck about the 1,000 odd people that are following them that also think they're a fuckwit. Those are my people. You see, that's how it works. It's that second degree sort of audience thing. That's how you do it. It's also when I've explained this idea of sort of, lookalike audiences, when you've got the algorithm against you, that's a good strategy to use, is to use those people who aren't penalised by the algorithm to get them to share your shit, like mules. This is what these disinformation things do. You just got to do it for good, not evil. See? Anyway. Can't remember what I was. Oh yeah, the business networking thing. So I was asked, and that we just sat through this fucking presentation on this guy's brilliant and profound. And you know what they do? They love calling it if you've been on the internet, you know about things like the spoon theory, or the thing. They name it surveillance. America, they love naming things and putting their stamp on things. And this guy loved to name his own fucking everything that he did and give it a name. And they just I call them the thirsties in business. I don't care whether they got money or not. There's just a thirst to it. There's just oh my God, these business things are fucking funny. But anyway, so he did this thing where he just dropped off cupcakes, and he did a whole thing about how he presented and sold gave them cupcakes, and then he got the sale. And everyone was acting like it was fucking profound. And I was just in there going, okay. I'm just what? What's your takeaway? And everyone's that was a fucking, and I just went, this isn't the group for me. So anyway, I was up 2 weeks later, and I had to talk about Kintsugi, which was my agency. Okay. Now, the thing about Kintsugi was that it was my last ditch attempt to try and do this thing right. And I had failed a couple of times. I wasn't getting and Kintsugi was a metaphor for, rebuilding, putting things together. It was just, funnily enough, it was just a domain name I'd registered during my divorce, and I thought that I might turn it into a book one day or something like that. Shut up. Yes, I know. But it was just something where, and I did an elevator pitch. So basically, they asked me to do a 2.5 minute speech, and that was basically fucking elevator pitch, except stretched out, right? And I hate that shit. And then, that's right, and that was that networking event. Sorry, this is why it led here, which was there was the cupcake guy and a guy who did a thing on how to do an elevator pitch and why they're important and how he won't talk to anybody without an elevator. And then I had a network interaction. I had a interaction with somebody who was a leader of this organization, and I happen to know that he was incredibly fucking dim. Okay, I happen to know that he's not that fucking bright. I also happen to know that he is just incredibly rude and misogynistic. So I actually was, and he was just talking about elevator pitches. And basically he would use elevator pitches as a way to fob people off and say, no, fucking, I'm not interested. And my thing has always been, as you will know, is that it takes as long as it takes. Okay, it might take fucking 4 hours, and that's not just because of having no concept of time. It's just that sometimes things just have to unfold. They have to you have to work through it. You have to push through bad ideas, get to good ideas, and that applies in meeting somebody and talking to somebody and getting to know someone. Sometimes it's it's that transactional versus relational thinking. It's that sort of non-linear. Sometimes, one thing I'm known for with my workshops is sort of asking questions that don't seem to make sense, but I actually end up nailing it and getting the strategy on board and getting the design spot on, and they don't understand the connection between the two. And you go, well, no, because I actually asked you. It's not like I'm not sitting there with a checklist. I will take the time. I'll get to know you. I'll get to know your personality. I'll get to know, what you do and don't like. All of these sorts of things. We'll talk about the world. We'll talk about, all of that sort of stuff. And the problem with elevator pitches in general, which if you don't know what an elevator pitch is basically 30 seconds. If you ran into Richard Branson in an elevator, what would you tell him you do? And I'd go, if I can condense what I do into a fucking elevator ride with Richard Branson, then I'm sorry, but I've wasted my life at this age. I've got a lot to say and I've done a lot, and what I do depends. And what I would do is tell Richard Branson to go fuck himself and what's he doing and to pull his head in and stop being such a cunt. That's what I would do. And I just realised that I'm probably not part of that group. So anyway, I wrote this. So I was supposed to do this speech for 2.5 minutes telling him about my business. And I was like, I'm not doing this. I've been in business for fucking 10 years. I'm not telling them about my pain's not for your fucking consumption. Go fuck yourselves. So I wrote a speech about not doing elevator speeches. Got kicked out of the group. Because I take the time to get to know people. And I don't want to do business with people who won't listen. And the thing is that the elevator pitch is something for people who are narcissists, won't listen, want you to get to the point, aren't actually interested in who you are and what you do, or what, how they can serve you. They're interested in what you can do for them. And I don't want those people in my business. I don't want to work with those people. Never have. And so it's like, well, okay, well, we'll hang out, we'll talk, we'll shoot the shit. It might take 6 fucking hangouts, but eventually we'll do business. It's a different fucking approach. And that's the thing with, that's why, with these labels, these labels are lazy in the sense that they involve lazy communication. They rely on stereotypes. They imply that people are capable of one view and one view only and one worldview, which is not the case. And also those labels change and move depending on who you're with and who you are. If you ask a fucking rich, fancy asshole fuck who I am, they'd think that I was a vulgar person who has no manners and doesn't want to do anything and has an attitude problem and isn't that smart because where's her PhD? And if she was smart, she'd have a book deal like that. I wrote a book in 2 months about, how Tarquin loves fucking broccoli. It can't be that hard, can it? Those people, okay, they can go fuck themselves. I'm not good enough for them. For my family, I'm a snooty asshole who fucking loves myself and thinks I'm better than them, okay? On Facebook. It's funny how when you disagree, and it's just like, something is either true or not true, okay? Something either works or doesn't work. Something is either effective or not effective, okay? And this is the thing about, like these conversion therapy, like when you're fighting bills in the beginning, you can actually go, yeah, you know what? I see a problem here. I want to be heard on it. That's the consultation phase. I want to be heard on it. If you lose, you fucking lost. That's democracy. But then what you do is you sit and you pay attention and you go, okay, well, was I right or not? You don't just keep doubling down and doubling down and doubling down. I mean, I don't know about you, but I haven't seen it. Again, might be happening without us knowing, but I haven't seen a fucking flurry of it's just like, and I haven't seen a sudden influx. Anyway, again, the data doesn't lie on these things. There comes a point where once you make something your identity, you can't change your mind, first of all, okay? Second of all, no one is all of that. Third of all, it all changes depending on who you're fucking talking to. If I'm online and something works, like I said, something works or doesn't work. And I was on that Facebook group that I was talking about the other day, where it was just like they were saying something like, we should use Google reviews to review Russian businesses to tell them about the situation in Ukraine. And I went, that won't work. And then I got called, and then she went, what do you know? You don't know anything. And I was like, well, I do know a thing or two. And she goes, oh, well, you're just a fucking book learning person. I was there. You don't know shit. You're just a snob intellectual type. And I went, thank you. I am smart. But then it was like, and then the next thing I'm talked down to by fucking academic friends who are like, oh, well, you won't use the exact same perspective as me, and you don't narrow your thoughts enough for me to get funding. Therefore, you are invalid. And make you feel like shit too. Okay, cool. Also, I'm a TERF. And also, I'm a fucking handmaiden. And also, I'm a man hater. And also, I fucking love men. Also, I'm a fucking idiot. Also, I'm smart. Also, I'm vulgar. Also, I'm clever. It's like, okay, well, if I let the internet decide who I was, I'd be fucked. I wouldn't know. Thankfully, I do. And that's the thing about when you build yourself up from the ground, like I did, my identity is formed from fucking zero, from nothing, from nobody else, okay? From trial and error and A/B testing from the day of birth. And I know we all do that, but I'm just saying me in particular had no fucking help. Everything that I have done and everything that I am has been hard fought, and that's a good thing because I sit there and I go, you guys are fucking idiots. Okay, and that doesn't mean I'm not like self-aware. It doesn't mean I don't go, okay, well maybe I'm the problem sometimes. Okay, that's a grown-up. Okay, that's a grown-up. No one has all the answers. But at the same time, it's just bizarre how when you are focused on just facts, data, history, evidence, and across discipline thinking, as in there is no one fucking answer, because I would say that a discipline is a mini form of cult. If you're not moving outside of your discipline and reading widely and only focused on your thing, you are just as narrow-minded as anyone in an ideology or anyone else. Okay? If anything, you've been radicalised with big fucking words. It's no, there's no one way to look at the world, science bros or fucking, whoever the fuck. It's like cultural studies thinking they replace science. And vice versa. They both have something to offer each other. And that's the problem. Anyway, I think I'm lagging again. Fuck, I'm going to have to reduce the, my son fucking uses all my internet now. It's driving me nuts. I make him pay the bills. Anyway, I can't even stream. Anyway, everyone else's streams are more important than mine. It's all good. Not long anyway. This is literally only a half-hour one. But I just wanted to say, though, don't let people Determine who you are and stop fucking using these labels. You get called authoritarian. Most people don't know what that means. Authoritarianism is a system of government, okay? It is, yes, there is a personality aspect to that. There is an authoritarian personality. But it's not asking people to do stuff is not authoritarian. Using choice architecture in policy is not authoritarian, okay? It's like, fucking hell, you dickheads. It's like, it's just, yes, it can be misused. Yes. But learn some stuff. But, oh my God, don't try to learn. If me telling you to learn some stuff, that's authoritarian. Because only authoritarians tell people to read books. They don't burn them. They tell people to read them. I'm an authoritarian who won't follow any rules and has no respect for authority or hierarchy. That's true. I think that fucking hierarchy is one of the greatest weapons. I think that, that said, I think that experience and knowledge matters. Both things can be true at once without the labels, okay? It depends. Anyway, I'm going to go. Lagging. I'm going to adjust. I'm going to have to go down to 720p. It's just how it is. Australian internet, everybody. Anyway, I love you. I'm going to go. Bye.